Hi, let's learn about transportation organisms. Okay. So basically, what do you mean by transportation? So basically, transportation is the process. Okay, it is a process by which substances such as water, nutrients, gases, and wastes are moved from one part of the body to another to maintain a proper functioning of the organism. So basically, it is the movement of water, nutrients, gases, and the waste across the body, right? Of different organisms. So here we have to learn about different type of organisms. Okay, so far we have learned how the digestion is happening, how the nutrients are absorbed, all these things, right? So now we are going to learn about how they are transported. Okay. So we'll be starting with the unicellular organisms. So what is a unicellular organism? So it is an organism with a single cell, right? So single cell carries out all life process. Okay. So for a unicellular organism, all its functions like ingestion, digestion, excretion, everything should be done by the single cell itself. Right. So the materials enter and leave through the cell surface. So if you take the case of amoeba, you can see the cell surface, right? So the materials will enter through the cell surface and also it leaves through the cell surface. Okay. And transport occurs mainly by diffusion. So the process is diffusion. You can take the examples like amoeba, paramecium, etc. for unicellular organisms. Okay. So here you can see for amoeba, you can see the cell membrane and you can see the inside endoplasm. And when the food enters into that, it will form a food vacuum. Okay, you can see the food vacuum here. Okay. And then the nucleus is here. Everything is inside this single cell. So once this digestion is completed and the needed nutrients are absorbed, it will be excreted through the same cell membrane. Okay. So that is about unicellular organisms. And now let's check for the multicellular organisms. So for multicellular organisms, it won't be that simple, right? So it includes organisms like algae, protozoa, sponges, etc. So cells are close together. So diffusion is sufficient. Okay. So materials are exchanged through general body surface. So in multicellular organisms like algae, protozoa, sponges, what are the case? Cells are close together. Okay. So you can see this example of sponge here. The cells are very close, right? They're close together. So diffusion is sufficient. So they also need diffusion. Okay. And how do they exchange the materials? Through their general body surface. And now we have the advanced multicellular organisms, just like human beings, etc. Okay. So the organisms are large and complex, and cells are far apart. Okay. So in this case, it is not that easy, right? So from each other because the cells are far apart. So diffusion alone is not enough. Okay. Diffusion is not alone enough. So it requires a specialized transportation system. Okay. Like circulatory system in animals. So you know the circulatory system. It includes all the body parts, heart and lungs. Okay. So for lungs, we know that it will do the gaseous exchange through alveoli, right? So the carbon dioxide rich blood will be getting oxygenated blood from the lungs, and the heart is responsible for pumping the blood throughout the body, and the body organs will intake the oxygen and nutrients from the blood and remove its waste through the blood, right? So all this happens through the circulatory system in higher order animals. And what about the plants? They have xylem and phloem. Okay, through that the transportation will be occurring. And what are the mode of transport into cells? We have diffusion, osmosis, and active transport. So, what do we mean by diffusion? So, we have so far mentioned diffusion in two places, right? For unicellular organism and a simple multicellular organism. So basically, diffusion is the movement from higher to lower concentration. Okay. So what is diffusion? It is the movement from higher to lower concentration. Okay. And what is osmosis? It is the movement of water through semi-permeable membrane. Okay. It is the movement of water through a semi-permeable membrane. And active transport. So it is a movement against concentration gradient using energy. Okay. So diffusion is present in unicellular and simple multicellular organisms. And osmosis is used in different parts. Okay, like in our day-to-day life also we make use of this osmosis. And also active transport, you can see that in the xylem. Okay. So movement against concentration gradient using energy. So this is how the transportation occurs in different type of organisms. Okay. So we have seen for amoeba, we have seen for sponge and the circulatory system. Then we have to again explain in the heart. Okay, heart section will be again explaining that. So basically, it shows how the blood is circulated properly and how the body is like getting all the nutrients and all the energy required and all everything will be covered in that. Okay. And same as in the plants, we have the xylem and the phloem. Okay.